If I have to die, I have to die. But please, I was just praying every day. When I opened my eyes, I was praying because I was happy. When I opened my eyes, I can see. I never actually believe in medicine. And then I never get attracted to a flu, a serious flu. Then on the 16th of June 2020, around about 12 o'clock, I feel I was like I got a cough. So I tell my colleague, if I'm not coming to work tomorrow, don't tell anyone I've told you I've got a cough. But I will be fine. But the following day I couldn't wake up, I'm not fit to go to work. So I decided to go. There's a sister in Strand. So I go to her. She said, okay, you attracted flu, got a flu, but I will book you off for your last 3 days. So my wife wanted to go buy some vitamins at the chemist. So while we are on our way to the chemist, I've told her, but I'm feeling tired. So we decided to come home. I come home, I go rest a bit. Then she asked me, don't you want to go test yourself? Maybe you could go with the salmon. How can you not go with the flu? So it was the Wednesday, the Thursday, the Friday. And on the Sunday, it was Father's Day. Then my youngest daughter came into the room for chicken. Then I just hear she's calling her mother. So I can't because something doesn't look right. Then I was starting to breathe. Then one of my colleagues, he used to come to me. Then he was on his way from work, come and check on me. And then they asked him to take me quickly to the hospital. Then they get me into the car. I was trying to get me in the car because I was like weak. Then we rushed to HH Hospital. Then when it came there, causing the pandemic, no one couldn't enter there. Get a wheelchair, put me in the wheelchair and push me in. Where was like testing me for COVID, they put it into my nose. And while I was there in the hospital, I was sitting in the wheelchair. I was trying to go to the bathroom on my own, because everyone was running around. So I go to the bathroom and then I take a pee there, and then suddenly I collapse. But luckily for me, the door was open and the sister could see I fall there, and they helped me. And then I think it was in 2 hours time, they was taking me to Tygerberg Hospital. Arriving at Tygerberg Hospital, I can't really remember. That time I remember that I just see A5, ward A5. And then there was doctors waiting for me and sisters, and then they took me in. And then they prepare me, put the drip. I already have a drip, and then they take off my clothes and put me on the hospital clothes and put drips on me. And then I know nothing about myself. I regained my consciousness after 14 days. After 14 days, I was asking, where am I? Say, no, you are in the hospital. What happens to me? Oh, you come in here, you collapse. What's the date? The first thing. And they tell me the date and I check. Father's Day. And they tell me, almost 14 days, they said. Your family was only every day. But the only thing I wanted to do by that moment, I just want to sleep. Because they put some machines on me. I was having 4 drips. I was having the blood pressure things on my ankles. And I just feel comfortable to sleep because they give me air inside my nose and I have to breathe also, so it's difficult. And then I was lying there. Every day was the same. I wasn't eating for 22 days. There was a lady giving physio. She said, it's time for you to wake up here. I say, I wanted to wake up, but all these machines and these things on me, I can't manage to get off. Then she said, can you please give just 2 steps? I just gave 1 step and then I collapsed. I have to start again to learn walking again. And I think it was on my 20th day or 22nd day, they released me from ICU, go to a normal ward. You see that there are fluorescent lights. It was like blurring. When I looked at it, it was blurring. I even saw some small kids around my bed. Then it's like, it's all in my imagination. It's like, they told me, you don't need to breathe, we are making air for you. My oxygen inside my body was below 45%. They say a human being to have oxygen in his body must be 95 plus, and I was below 45%. I think it was on my 30th day. There was a doctor coming to me and said to me that they are going to send me for isolation because my oxygen inside my body is now 93%, but it is supposed to be 95%. Then that will be okay. But I have to walk a certain distance. I walk like 30 steps and come back, and then she put me again on the machine, and then my oxygen level drops to 86%. Say we can't go to our hospital, we must stay. Then on the Thursday, come a panel of doctors, and this was a specialist, say no, this guy can't go on Friday. Because the doctor already told me Friday you can go home, you'll be right. So he decided that you can't go home because your lungs is not fully recovered. So I said, no doctor, I have the treated TB in 98, and then I just told her that from that time my lungs didn't get 100%. So I was used to it. So she said, no, you must stay here. So on Thursday, come my doctor again. Tell my doctor, I'm almost 55 days away from my family. I didn't see my family because my family couldn't visit me in hospitals. During my birthday, alone in hospital. And then on a Friday morning, he came, he said to me, I think you can go home, but you must look after yourself. Then they at the hospital, they are arranging a taxi. And when I go out, here's the taxi steering. They push me out with the wheelchair. Now, while I was getting into the taxi, I was like slapping for that thing like that. I say, I'm good, I'm okay. Don't worry. Well, the sister said, I'm going to call the doctor. I said, right. But then I try to regain my strength self at home. In the morning when I wake up, I go to the spark and just clean out and then come back. And always tell myself, I'm going back to work. I'm not going to lie. I'm not good. I even after 2 days, I put into my car, try to drive my car. I even take my leg like this and put my legs on the clutch, and then I try my utmost best, and after 10 days I go back to work. I think everyone is afraid to die. Every day you hear the statistics on TV is this. Today is 200 people passed away. And even at the church, I screw them off for Sia. It's a funeral. And I was afraid. Really, I was afraid that when this lightened, because of her reality. You see, there was times for me when I fall asleep, then maybe in my dreams, or what I'm thinking is that, am I going to open my eyes? You can say that actually the 3 days when I came out of the coma, or 14 days, I was lying in the ward with 6 beds. And I asked, where's that guy? Passed away. And then when I fall asleep, and then, where's that guy? Passed away. Then I said, when is it my turn? Please Lord, can you just spare to my family? Just to open my eyes and to feel my face. I sometimes make like this, feel if I'm still alive. Is it not faking or what? But for me to go through this pandemic, I'm grateful.